Hey, so are you interested in publishing your first book on Amazon? And are you even wondering whether or not self-publishing makes sense, right? Well, I can give you the guidance that I used to publish my very first book, The Meltaway Boy. For me, going into self-publishing and publishing my book was never about making money. I've had a couple ideas over the years, a couple stories I've written down that I just never ever completed, never ever edited, and they've never ever seen the light of day. But this time around, last year, during the pandemic, I was like, you know what? Art is art, really art, if no one appreciates it. It's kind of like, right? If a tree falls in the forest and no one's around to hear it, it doesn't make a sound. But really and truly, I have blogs that are private. I have, as I mentioned, stories that are just there in Google Drive. But you may have an idea for a story, something that you think is valuable to put out there, and you're just holding on to that. So if you are going to self publishing, maybe your end goal is to make money, but I can tell you in the short term, it may be slow. I have made maybe $6 from this book, and it cost me many, many times that amount in my personal time to go and edit this book and get it ready. In terms of getting someone to actually create the illustrations for this book, it took a lot of time and it took money, and to then review that. It has taken me a lot of time and effort. But you know what? Seeing this in print just really, really made my day. So it may not be the money. In fact, I think if you get a publisher and your idea is so great, one of those top publishers are willing to go with it, you may make a lot more. But yeah, the steps. First, I would say write your book. Get your idea down on paper. If it's a small kids book like this one, I personally don't think you need to have all the I's dotted and the T's crossed, because you'll have ample opportunity to go through and edit those when the pictures come back. I'll just speak in the context of a kid's book. So outline your story as much as you can, because you are going to need guidance to pass to the person who will be illustrating it, unless you'll be illustrating it yourself. So for me, I outlined my story. I actually wrote my story, and I thought, oh, it was good. I actually sent the words out. I got some feedback about how to fix the wording, and I had some mixed matched tenses that I had to update. I did that. Then I decided to do a little. It's kind of like a storyboard. I didn't want to put my complete story there. I kind of thought about plagiarism. I didn't want to put my entire story out there. I didn't want it to be copied. And yes, I just decided to just do a little storyboard, kind of jot down what I expected to see on that photo, on those each of the pages, the images, and kind of put a small idea. There are a couple words sometimes when I wanted it to, make an impact. Like if I wanted to say he shouted, I kind of put that line so the illustrator had an idea what the person should be conveying, or the character should be conveying at that time. So that's what I did. And yeah, and then I sent it. I used Fiverr. I've used it's not Elance anymore, Odesk, right? But I used Fiverr, and I went through a couple persons to find someone that I thought had the proper skill set and the price range. Of course, as I told you, did not do this to get rich. In fact, if I, especially if I could get them at this price without this, I would order like 100 and give them out, because I loved reading as a kid, and I think kids should read, right? Yeah, so I sent it out. I chose someone, and the person was really, really cool. And they sent back a proof in, I think, a week. I just had a few tweaks. The price is really good, so I didn't want to like nitpick too much. So they gave me back the proofs. I made a couple suggestions. I got the back in like 2 or 3 days, and then I realized that based on the photos, I had to adjust my story. So it's not that I rewrote my story, but I realized that based on how the photos were laid out, it could make sense to kind of tweak my story a little bit. Another thing, based on how the pictures were laid out, I realized that in some cases I may need more words to fit the page. In some cases I need less words to fit the page. So I had to kind of tweak my story to ensure that the words matched the images that were alongside. So those are some of the tweaks I had to do after actually writing my story. So once that was done, I used the Kindle Create app that Kindle provides, Amazon provides, and then I laid out that story. That's kind of self-explanatory once you download the software. It's not the best, but it's simple and it does the job. You lay out your story, and from then, you can download a proof copy, which will be a PDF, and then you are ready to publish the soft copy for the soft downloads in the Kindle store. To do the print book is a little bit more complicated because you have to think about the margins, the edges, the bleed. It's just so many things. And this is one of the reasons I delayed it for so long. I would say download a copy of the template that they have, upload it to your favorite editing software. It can be Canva or whatever it is, and ensure that you lay out your book in a format that you fit within all the margins that they have. And then that's a little bit painstaking, but in the end it's worth it to ensure that when you print your book, you don't have a lot of mismatched edges. Like for mine, at the bottom you have a little bit of white, but that's fine for me. What was important is that the top edges and the right hand edges are they're properly laid, and I'm pretty pleased with the outcome. So yeah, so once that's done, so you can have, just to say, you can have the soft copy in and live for many months before. That's what I did, and I just got around to the hard copy. So you can have that. It's not you can do one without the other. So I just went and did the editing, did the laying out, and confirmed my proof copy. Then the process to get it ready for the proof, you actually have to submit it. I think someone goes and manually reviews it to make sure it will print properly. I think they don't want to, say they're going to print something and then they print it and the quality is so bad. Then, people are going to complain and want their money back. So once the proof was accepted, within like 24 hours, I was able to order 2 copies. So this, you see, it is one of my copies, and now it's available. So that's a very basic rundown of how to get your book published. I would say first write your story. If it's a kid's book. Do some storyboards. It can be very basic. Send it to your illustrator. Work with your illustrator to ensure that you have the quality that you want in terms of the images and the size. You'll have to tell your illustrator which size book you're going to use as well. And yeah, maybe tweak your story to ensure that everything makes sense. You're not saying something like the boy climbed on a horse and the horse picture is two pages away, just because you don't want to tweak your story. Then you use the Kindle Create app, upload it, and the rest is history. So if you want more details on how to get your first book done, maybe a reference to the illustrator I used, go ahead and reach out to me and I'll surely help you with that. Thank you for watching, and go and order my book, The Meltaway Boy by Jordan Reed.